Welcome to Yo-11 Minutes. Yo-11 Minutes, mostly Vegas, no BS casino experience, and more. Michael Traeger is a casino and travel loyalty expert who also helps people turn their travel dreams into reality. And now, Michael Traeger. How's it going, Michael?
It's going great. Kind of great. It's okay. It's a good day.
That's good to hear. And you know what? Let's just get to it. And now it is time for the news and views. Downtown's Christmas tree is lit, as the kids would say, but also actually lit. The tree, which has 53,000 light bulbs, was lit by Mayor Carolyn Goodman. Downtown's Christmas tree will be lit 24/7 throughout the holidays. Also, this Thursday, the first light will shine on the Grand Menorah, celebrating Hanukkah. And that's it for the news, and now for the views. Michael, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, but I
All
can't
right.
sing that song as well as you can.
I'm all right. I'm not that great at it, but it is what it is.
But that's cool. Hey, I love all the Christmas updates, but not too many other thoughts. My other thoughts of the day is I got to talk to Vegas Introvert today, and we were talking about ZorkFest for next year, so that was pretty good. Those are my good thoughts today. That's it. My mind's a little numb because I've been looking at so much travel stuff, and this is the time of year where people start to call me with questions like, "Hey, I'd like to go away at the end of the year. Do you think that'll be a problem?" So brain a little fried.
Well, it's December, so yes, that might be a problem.
It is. Yeah, this December. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Oh man, that's crazy. All right, well, yeah, we have a tease segment today. So now it is time for the tease. Fees don't always mean you are paying more. Take it away, Michael.
Hey, so like we were saying, or like Movestro said, fees don't always mean that you're paying more. And this just came about the other day because someone was tweeting about how the airline consolidation, there's a big thing going on now that Alaskan and Hawaiian are going to come together. Isn't that cool? Alaskan Airlines and Hawaiian Airlines are going to sort of make babies. But they're not going to make babies. They're just going to probably come together if they
So,
can get that.
so airlines named for the last two states to join the party decided to get together. That's interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. And obviously one of the biggest fears is this airline consolidation all the time is going to increase prices. And it's true, when there are fewer airlines, it does increase prices. It tends to increase prices where there is less competition. So certain airports have less competition, like Dallas and Charlotte, which are basically fortress hubs that are controlled by an airline. But a lot of other cities do have more competition. I could think off the top of my head Boston, New York, Los Angeles. Those are airports with a lot. Vegas have a quite a bit of competition. Anyway, someone was trying to say how, oh, all these fees now and a nickel and diming with airlines and it makes it so much more expensive, but that isn't really relatable to the price of flying. And just follow me here. If you went back to like 1972 and looked at the cost of flying as a broad vision or a broad stroke, you would find that it actually was way more expensive to fly in the early 1970s than it is today. And that has nothing to do with the fact that when you went to fly in the early 1970s, that the ticket included your seats, included your bags, included your boarding pass, included a meal, probably a pretty decent meal. So even though it included all of those things, it still was a lot more expensive to fly. So even today, with all of these like a la carte kind of things that you add on, it's still less expensive to fly. And on top of it, we've got this little advantage today that sometimes you can happen upon airfare that's 29, 39, 49, $59. And yes, you might be adding things to it like a seat assignment, a checked bag, but it's still going to be substantially less expensive. But Yes, it is true. Airfare has gone up quite a bit over the last 2 years, and it is more expensive to fly. But that's not because of the fees. That's more having to do with just market conditions. But the fees aren't really making it more expensive to fly. So that's something to think about. And it's still cheaper to fly now than it was in the early 1970s, especially before deregulation. But then when we're talking about fees, we have to talk about everybody's favorite fee thing to talk about, which is resort fees at hotels. And that's a little trickier because resort fees are added by hotels for a couple of reasons. And most people would say, oh, well, of course, resort fees are being added because hotels want to take advantage of you and take all of your money. And they want to be devious about it. But actually, the reason why the reason why hotels have resort fees are two pretty good reasons. One reason is that it lowers the average price of the base hotel room, so it shows up better on search engines. In addition, those resort fees are not commissionable. So even though traditional travel agents you always think of as making commission, people like me, but also all the big people like Expedia and Bookings Holdings and all of these websites. I mean, they're booking these things because they're getting commissions or they're getting percentages for what they've booked. And obviously that's based on the room rate, not on taxes. And that resort fee is not going to earn any commission for anyone. So that's really important to remember. So sometimes, like those extreme examples where you have a $25 room and a $30 resort fee, well, only that $25 is going to be commissionable to whoever you booked it through. And that $30 the resort doesn't have to pay commission on. So that's a really big reason why resorts love why hotels and resorts love resort fees. Also, this idea about the search engine thing is another thing going back to the airline thing. Today, that's once again the thing about showing the lowest base rate. An airline wants to show an airline ticket as $150 and have you add on all the things like bags and other things. So when you look at it on a search engine, it's going to show up as $150, as opposed to if they said, hey, we're going to charge $230 and include the seat assignment and include the bag, then it's not going to look as good on a search engine. Once again, of course, that was something no one was ever thinking about in the 1970s and 1980s because the only search engine there was the Encyclopedia Britannica, which was slightly cumbersome. And so just some stuff to think about with regard to fees. I'm not really sure. I tend to feel that the resort fees in Las Vegas, that the prices are still geared to what the market will pay. I do not think if those resort fees on $19 rooms disappeared, that the rooms would necessarily stay as $19. Like, say, resort fees were outlawed. I think the room price would adjust. Of course, then you would lose those great sweet spots for those who are lucky enough to be things like MGM Gold or Caesar's Diamond, who get waived resort fees. Then sometimes picking up those $19 rooms can be really advantageous with the waiver. So that's all I got for you today on fees. Movestro, do you agree with some of that? Do you disagree? Do you enjoy fees? Do you dream about fees?
I don't dream about fees, thankfully. Being that I live here now, I don't worry about resort fees as much because I could just drive to the strip or downtown, do what I'm going to do, and then come back to the comfort of home. I do eventually want to do a staycation though. I mean, I've just gotten used to the fees now. I mean, I always just in my brain add $45 per night because why not? And of course, let's not forget the security or incidental or whatever that might be as well. So that's another hold that has to happen. But I've gotten used to it where I don't even care anymore about the fees. It would be nice if there was some honest pricing though, but I think everyone's got to be on board for that. I know there's some stuff out there to try to get rid of what's called junk fees and stuff like that and have more honest, not reporting so much, but like honesty in marketing about how much the rooms really are and what you are actually going to pay. And you get that on some sites, but it's always that cheap thing and then asterisk, or when you click next, it starts adding up this little tally of what you're going to pay at the hotel and what you're going to pay as you're booking. It'd be nice if they just did away with all that nonsense. But then I'm concerned that Vegas might not look like such a bargain. If, in comparison to other places, if it's like, oh, the hotel for that week is actually going to be $650. Well, I'll tell you what, it is cheaper than staying in New York. So there's that.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, I'm not convinced if you take that room for $25 with a $25 resort fee, just keeping the math really simple, which makes it, let's say, a $50 room plus tax. I'm not convinced if resort fees were outlawed tomorrow that $25 room would still stay as $25 because the resorts have, they've already figured out that they're looking at getting $50 worth of revenue plus tax. The fact that they do it with the resort fee, cutting out the commission for other people, or do it, being better on the search engines, or don't do it with the resort fee, I think the room rates would basically wind up being the same. I mean, I agree with you. The transparency sucks. I mean, I think websites have gotten better at it, but I don't think that $25 room would stay as $25. I think it would just adjust up somewhere around the $50. So it would basically be the same thing. So that's my opinion. I don't know. I'd love to hear if people disagree with that, but I'm pretty convinced about that.
All right. Well, before we get going, do you have any closing remarks, or is there anything on your mind?
Well, somebody in the comments said that they want Movestro for president. So I think we should start that campaign. I think that's because you were being so politically correct about North Strip and South Strip yesterday. So I loved that comment. Also, I forgot another comment by a frequent listener, Marilyn, who mentioned a couple weeks ago that she loved the episode, and she also loves the Wind Tower Suites bar. Must have been the episode when we were talking about it. And somebody else, when we were talking about favorite slot machines, said that they love the Top Dollar, Double, Triple Diamond, and Triple Stars. That was Jay Scott. I am totally curious if he was thinking that those should all be put together. But that's basically all I got for you today, and we should be back with you next week, I hope.
Alrighty, and you know what? When I am president, I will make sure that during these troubled times, strip lovers are not divided amongst North and South, but as one strip. One great, fabulous Las Vegas strip. My name is Michael Movestro, and I approve this message.
But you haven't said your position on resort fees yet, so we're going to wait to see.
I've gotten used to them, but I'll see what I could do. I mean, who knows? I mean, uniting the strip is difficult.
Major question?
Okay.
Plastic or paper straws? If you were president, would you allow paper straws? Ooh.
And that's going to do it for this episode. Luxury travel booking, TravelZork Travel. Visit us at TravelZorkTravel.com to plan your next amazing vacation. Please join the conversation on social media. You can find us easily. All social platforms are at TravelZork. We'll see you next time.